Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Welcome back to Tableau Snippets and iSelf Academy YouTube channel. In our previous video, we saw how to work with the time series data again with area chart in it. Plus, we also saw how to use a filter and how to use a quick filter and how to make the filter available for multiple sheets with a single filtration to apply. In our today's video, we are about to see the next logic where we are going to talk about other dimensions like maps and dashboard. I'm going to break this data into two different slots here because I want to keep this scatter plot to the next video. But again, I can use it if I wanted to, but I am interested to use the maps and I want to create a dashboard and I want to make the dashboard a little interactive for us by adding a filter and highlight here. And we can see hover over also comes into play. Let me show you all of them one after the other one. First and the foremost part, in this data set, I'm going to make a lot of changes in the data set because my data type is coming in a little weird way where I'm going to use the dashboard a little differently. So there is some change that I'm going to perform when I do deal with this data set. So let's see how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to come back to our Tableau Professional Edition this time because there are a few discrepancies that we may face when we are working with a Tableau public edition. Probably this data set requires a proper Tableau Professional Edition here. That's why I'm taking that. And I'm going to bring in a text and CSV file for our usage. I'm going to click the text files here. And I'll go back to my Tableau snippet channel, file archive. And then I'll take the data set that I'm going to deal with is called UK bank customer list here. When I bring this data set, you can automatically see the data set comes with 4014 rows totally, and I have 9 fields in it. And there are a few fields which is coming a little weird here. So let me just show you what are the weirdity in it and then how we're going to change that into a better data set. So the agenda of this particular data set is I want to know how many customers I have in my list, and I want to just break them by their job, by their region where they live, and then by their age, by their gender, and as well as by the balance that they maintain in my map account. I want to just break them into multiple points. And the best part that I want to say in this particular video is we can add the data to a map and the map will give you a labeling feature in Tableau. I don't think that any other software does that as far as the softwares that I worked. I didn't work all the softwares. I worked only 4 softwares. The 4 softwares, I don't want to name them either. So Tableau does this effortlessly. But I'll have some difficulty in here. So I'll show you what are the difficulties that I have. I'm going to break that into consideration. So I'm going to drag and drop the region here. So the region is what I have. I have 4 different regions of United Kingdom. And then I'm going to drag the customer name to it. So automatically it gives you the latest data set for me perfectly. But unfortunately, it is not showing me a map here. If I try to create a map right now and I go back to my show me, and then you can see the maps are blunt here. They are not allowed because my field is not a map field. It is a string here. So I can convert this into a geographical field and again read the data carefully and then choose the right geographical role. I'm going to pick up the geographical role and you can see the following geographical role available for me in Tableau. I'm going to select state and provinces here. Once I do that, automatically now you can see that the disabled maps are enabled right now. I'm going to use not a map which is normally used. I'm going to use a filled map here. Instead of using this, I'm going to use a filled map. When I do that, the system will take a little bit time and then it will show you. And probably it can shout at me saying that you cannot do it because at the moment my system lies in India. So it's going to take the Indian map into consideration most of the time. So it shows the map, but it says that I cannot recognize these as a state or provinces in India. So when I click the unknown part here, then I can edit the location and picks up the India here. I'm going to convert this into United Kingdom here, or I'll call this as UK. So I have United Kingdom coming up here. When I do that, automatically you can see the data sets are perfectly matched here. The matching location is also shown for me. When I give an OK, that's going to show you the data set automatically with a little color here. If you want to make multiple colors here, you are good to go. I would like to have different colors here. So I'm going to just pick up the color pattern here and then I'm going to go to the edit colors. And then instead of picking up one color, I'm going to bring them into multiple colors. Let me bring a red and blue in it. So when I pick the data set, so the red and blue will come into play. So in that way, I can differentiate the data set beautifully. The advantage that I told you earlier was I can add a label to my data set. I'm going to drag and drop the number of customers to the label. Voila, you can see that it is giving you the numbers here. This I never saw in any other data set. So I would like to add the label of the region also, and I would like to edit the label here betterly. So now I'm going to just come back here, and then I'm going to edit the data. I'm going to keep the region on top, and then I'm going to keep the number of the data below. So now I got the list. So if you're using any other software, you have to use filters, scorecards, blah, 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 and all to get it done. So now I got my first map. I know the number of people available in a particular region here. I'm sorry, I'm a very bad speller. So let me just respell it again. So now I got the data set perfectly here. So now I got the first data set here. The next part that I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a gender-wise population here. So I'm going to drag the gender and the number of people available in the list. And then I'm going to convert that into a pie chart here. So when I do the pie chart, so I'm going to make it a little bigger here. And then I'm going to make the size a little bigger. And if you want to add some colors to it, you can do that. So I'm going to edit the colors here. I'm going to make the female into maybe a better color. So let me use Tableau 20 colors. So I'll have more colors here. I'll pick up a light color here, and I'll pick up a dark color here. Then now you can see that the data set comes beautifully. Now we can add the number of people available in the list here. Now I got the number. And if you want to just add the genders also on top of it, so you can add the genders here. So now I keep the data set as it is because I would like to keep the gender in a same point that I want to do it. And I replace this as gender here. The same way, I'm going to bring another data set here, and then I'm going to bring the gender or the job classification wise customer list. I'll again use the same data set here, which allows us to see the data better. And then I'm making the size a little better. And I choose the colors that I want here. So let me keep the data set in the same pattern. So let me just make it as a greener one and maybe the darker green, and then I pick up some of the color here. Yes, so now I got the list here, and then I can bring the job classification label on top and the number of people at the bottom. If you want to make the percentage here instead of a numerical value output, you're welcome to do so. So now I call this as job. Now I'd like to add the age here. This is where my changes of data set will come into play, because at the moment my age and the balance are coming not as a dimension but as a measure. I don't want them as a diamond. I don't want them as a measure. I want to convert this into a dimension. So I'll click the age on the right hand side. Then you get a drop down list here. Then I convert that into a list. Then automatically it jumps from the measures to a dimension here. Let me just add the next list. I'll add the age here. And then I'll add the number of people available in the age. And you can see there's a lot of data that comes into play. If this data becomes a class central data set, that will look nice, because this is going to give you everybody's. I have 15 years, 17 years. I have customers of all sorts of ages here until I have 64 here. I don't want to do each and every one separately. I want to combine them as one dimension. To do this, I'm going to go back to my age here. After converting my dimension to measure, now I can add a small logic called bin here. And then when I bring the bin, you can make it as the size of 5 or 10. So I'll make it as 10 here. When I give an OK, I have one more new field. I'm going to replace the age with a bin here. So now I'll remove the age out of the equation. So automatically you can see the number of people available in a list. This looks spick and span. Then I add the numbers on top of it. This looks nice. And then let me change the colors to something else. Let me just make it a lighter blue. That's good. And then I'll call this age. And I do the same logic for the balance also. So before I start giving this, I'm going to create the bin first. And then I'm going to set the bin as 25,000. Then when I add a new sheet, bring the bin to the column, bring the numbers to the data set here. This looks nice, and I'll change this to maybe a bar diagram here because I don't want to show all of them in one shot. I got the list. Let me drag and drop the number of people here. So if you see the number of customers who hold between 1,000 to 25,000 pounds with me is almost half of, or even more than that data set here. So now this is the balance sheet that I have here. Now I got all of them. So let me create a dashboard right now. So let me go back to my dashboard, create a new dashboard here. Bring the map into consideration first. Drag the gender below. And then the job next. And then the age factor comes in place here. Let me take all this data out of the equation because I'll get some space here to play around with. Because I don't need any of these filters at the moment. So let me just add the filters a little later. So finally, I'm going to bring the balances at the last, and then I'll drag this to the right. So now I got my entire data set here. So I think that I can able to read them all better. Yes, I can see all the data set spick and span here. Now, if you want to add a filter, you can do that here. So this is how we build a dashboard here. Now I can export this to an image and then add it to my desktop version here. When I minimize this, you will see the dashboard that comes in here. And you got your dashboard really very nicely, and Tableau does that beautifully. Again, my headers are not proper, so there are a few things which I need to make it. I want to say map or customer, region-wise customer, and age-wise customer, gender-wise job voice, and balance-wise customer. So I want to name them all in that way. So let me just come back to our list here and then go back to list, and then I'll call this as customer by region. Then customer by gender, and when customer by job, and then customer by age, and then customer by balance. If you want to make this into a center, do you have the facility to do so? I can go back to the title and then make it to the center. And I can do this for all my data set here. If you want to make it bold, you are having the facility to do so. But I'm not using that or making it bold because my data set didn't require that to be in the bolder part here. So now I'm just making all of them. I'm again double clicking everything and then doing everything here. So now I got my first report here, and then I'm going to just export this to the same data set here again. So now my data set will look a little more organized. So you can see that data are coming uniform across the data set, and then you can see the data completely in a perfect dimension here. Now, when I do this, what happens? When I click one of my data set here, you can see nothing is happening in my other data sets here. Now, I want to know, when I click 1,549 people are with a zero balances here. I want to know which region they belong to, what kind of a job do they do, which gender they belong to, and then I want to know what is the age group that holds that position here. I want to see all of them here. So how do I do that? That's what we are going to see in our next video, how to create the logic of filters here. And I can do hover over data set, and then I can do highlights here. That's what we will see in our upcoming video, because this video is becoming a little longer than normal. So I want to make it as short as possible so that you can enjoy the learning better, and then you can get the data output out of the equation better. And if you want to build a data set, again, when I come back to this data set again, I will show how I can create a storyboard for each and every region, age, gender, job, and balances. and how I'm going to navigate that with ease. I'll show that. We just saw a storyboard idea in our previous video a little bit, but we're going to elaborate that in our upcoming videos here. This is Vinod signing out from iSelf Academy YouTube channel plus Tableau Snippet YouTube channel. You are learning Tableau Basic Learning Program. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe the channel, and I have added 6 more videos before. See them all and learn more about it. I will be adding another 5 more videos on this particular learning. Thank you so much.